So this is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. I'm in Guadalajara, Mexico, and right now I'm in Plaza de Armas. This is the cultural center of Guadalajara, and behind me right now you're looking at the Guadalajara Cathedral, and Plaza de Armas has the cathedral along one side, and then to the right here there's the governor's palace, which is the seat of the government here for the state of Jalisco. And unfortunately, there, as you can see, they're renovating the front of it, which I suppose is a good thing. But you can't see it in all of its glory. But I'll show you a little closer. It's done quite nicely. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. And they're also renovating part of the grounds here to the right. So it's not in all of its glory, but you can get a feel for what it'll look like when you're done. So this is the governor's palace behind me. As I said, it's right on Plaza de Armas. This was completed in 1790, just 20 years before the Mexican independence. The previous version, completed in 1643, was constructed more modestly of adobe. The palace became Hidalgo's home. Hidalgo was the father of the revolution. It was his home in 1810. It was also, once the revolution was completed, it was also where Hidalgo abolished slavery. There are two murals inside the palace. One is Hidalgo's cry for independence, and the other shows Hidalgo signing the decree to abolish slavery. President Benito Juarez also ran the government executive branch here in Mexico in 1958 when he lived in Guadalajara. Incidentally, Juarez was the only indigenous president of Mexico. The rest have all been descendants of colonialists. Let's go inside and see if we can see those murals. We're inside the governor's palace. As you can see, it's a gorgeous place. As I said, built in 1790. And it's done really well. I think the mural's supposed to be up these stairs here. Let's see what we find. Yeah, here it is. Isn't that just almost unbelievable? It's that's Hidalgo, and that's his cry for freedom. And you can see his cause, all the death that Spain happened upon Mexico. The colonial years were very difficult on the indigenous people. And Hidalgo and Allende were the fathers of the Mexican independence. From the second floor here of the governor's palace, you can see the cathedral towers. It's nice, and it's really a beautiful place. There's Cheng Hui. Any thoughts about the governor's palace, Cheng Hui? No idea? No idea what? You like it?
Because I haven't eaten my breakfast yet.
Oh, let's go get you some food. Alright, there's one other mural that we'll try to find here before we feed Cheng Hui. It's a mural of Hidalgo setting the slaves free. Spain, of course, had no trouble with Spain, or Spain had no trouble with slavery, but the slaves didn't like it too much. I don't see it through here. So this is what I'll call the state legislature for Jalisco. And it turns out Hidalgo freeing the slaves is on the ceiling. He's, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see the tied hands in front of him, and he's signing a document that says Libertad. So he liberated the slaves. I've said, I think in another video, he's sort of a combination of the father of independence, which would be George Washington in the US, and he's also their Lincoln. He signed the abolishment of slavery. So they must be very proud of Hidalgo. This mural is particularly interesting for me because I've read about the Reform Wars. And the Reform Wars were trying to take control from the Catholic Church, really, and give it to the government, which we have in the U.S., separation of church and state, church and state. And so you see below Hidalgo is some document being signed, reform, and there's no representation here of the church. So this is a big political shift in Mexico's political position, going from a very church-controlled state to secular or government-controlled. When you're in the governor's palace, make sure to walk through every doorway. And we were almost ready to leave, and Chung Hui saw this passageway, and it's quite charming. We would have missed this if we rushed. It's this gorgeous fountain, and you think it's for animals? Why do they have the water dripping down? Any idea? No? Maybe it's for horses or something. So, as you noticed, it wasn't really a clear front of the cathedral when we were in Plaza de Armas. This plaza is on the left of the church as you face the church of the cathedral. And I don't know if this is the front. It looks more like a front to me, but in fact there's even doors open, if you can see. So let's go inside and see what it looks like. As you face this church, on the right is the plaza we were in, Plaza de Armas. And we're in a new plaza now, which I just showed you, and a fountain, you can hear it bubbling behind me. But there's another plaza here, which we'll look at. So all four sides of this church and behind it included have plazas. So that'll give you the importance of the Catholic Church in Mexican society and why it's so hard to separate church and state here. This is the largest church I've seen in Mexico other than the cathedral in Mexico City. It's very expansive. As you can hear, it's service right now, so I'm going to whisper and get out of here as quickly as possible, but needed to share it with you before I went to the next stop. It's not lovely. So this is the Guadalupe Cathedral. Like most cathedrals in earthquake country in Mexico, This church has come down a few times. It was also destroyed by fire in 1541. The second attempt to complete it in 1618 was destroyed by earthquake in 1820, and then again in 1840. Although still standing now, it has been damaged by multiple earthquakes in the last 150 years. No indigenous temples were destroyed to construct this cathedral. That fact knocks holes in my earlier comments I made in Cusco and Mexico City that God must be angry at the Europeans for destroying sacred ground. On the north side of the cathedral is the rotunda of illustrious men, which you're looking at right now. A circular memorial with 17 columns surrounds 98 urns containing the remains of these honored men. And so don't miss that when you're at the cathedral. So correct me, illustrious people. I was going to make fun of them because it looked like all men to me on first sight, but there is a woman here, Rita Perez de Moreno. She's a heroine of independence. She lived from 1780 to 1861. So normally on these city tours I take you into museums, and this is the Regional Museum of Guadalajara here, right behind the illustrious men's monument, or illustrious people. It's 60 pesos to go in. We have a lot to cover today, so maybe we'll come back and do that tomorrow. I'm not sure. There's the cathedral again. So this is the fourth plaza surrounding the Cathedral of Guadalupe. And we'll see more of it later. That building down there we'll see is a theater I'm going to talk about. So on the opposite the cathedral is Pedro Moreno, Calle Pedro Moreno Gonzalez, and this is a walk down this street. Supposed to be all wedding dresses and shoes and christening dresses and quinceañeras, which is like a coming out party for Mexican girls. I think when they're 15, they have a coming out party. So this street is for those. This is where people come to buy those items. Here you can see wedding dresses and quinceañeras. I don't see any christening dresses yet. Although actually I wouldn't know a christening dress if I saw one. I don't think I've ever been to a christening. Christening is, I think around 10 or 12 if my memory serves me. My older sister did a christening, just don't remember it, it's where you accept the Catholic faith. Baptism, of course, your parents do to you. Oh, these are probably christening dresses here. Too young for quinceañeras, but yeah, no shortage of wedding dresses or formal wear everywhere you turn. So at the end of the wedding dress street, you're going to see this busy commercial area, and I think you walk between those buildings there to get to the Mariachi Square. So we crossed the street, now we're walking down this little area here. Hopefully this will get us to the Mariachi Square. And we're here, Plaza de los Mariachis. Of course, mariachis originated in this part of Mexico, Jalisco. And this square is supposed to be where in the afternoons they come and play, trying to get work for weddings or occasions. And there's also a mariachi festival here once a year. I can't remember what month, but where there's mariachi bands all over the world now that come here and compete. And I would suspect this is probably, you see a lot of foreign mariachi bands here at that time. It's The Central Market is here in Guadalajara, Mexico. You can get just about anything you want here, whether it's food or accessories, or shoes, or clothing, or kitchenware. And there's a bunch. Right now, we're looking at a bunch of family-owned restaurants. You can get a nice meal here, made by a family, owned by a family, for like $1 to $2, and it's quite delicious and healthy. So come enjoy the market here. And by the way, all of these places I'm showing you are on a free Google Maps walking tour. And you just click the link below this video on YouTube, and you'll find the webpage that has the Google map, and you can click that and start walking. Also, please like this video, comment, subscribe to Vagabond Buddha, so that it'll help us with our rankings. Thanks. So when you exit Mercado Libertad, you just come north up a set of stairs, and you'll see this beautiful open area with water in the center. And right now we're looking for melting magicians. It's bronze sculptures on the north side of Mercado Libertad. So when you get to that water I showed you a moment ago, you just keep going, turn right and go, and you'll run into this. We haven't seen the melting magicians yet, but this is a cultural institute of cabanas. There are over 100 rooms and 20 patios. Make sure to see Jose Clemente Orozco's Man of Fire and other murals inside the chapel. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is an old hospital built in 1791 by the former Bishop Juan Ruiz de Cabanas, and now it's used as the Cabanas Cultural Institute.
Is it worth to go inside?
So just to the right of the front door, you buy your ticket to go to the Cabanas Cultural Institute. It's 70 pesos for adults. I'm sure back in the day everything was fine, but today if a bishop opened up a hospital for children, people might worry. We're waiting for our English speaking guide. It'll be here in 2 or 3 minutes. It's a beautiful courtyard. So this is the main attraction here at Cultural Institute of Cabanas, built in 1791. It's the murals. Jose Clemente Orozco painted all of these murals here with one hand in a short period of time. I think as I recall, it was 2 years. So what do you think, Chung Hui? What do you think?
I haven't eaten my lunch yet.
She has her mind on food 24 hours a day, and she looks like she might be starving to death. She's very skinny, but she eats all day. I don't know how she does it. Still looking for the melting musician furniture. That's the Cabana Cultural Center or Institute. So we're walking this way now. Keep walking, you'll see this fountain here. Just keep walking. It's a pretty cool little concourse here. Trees and park benches. We just ran into a cop over there and asked him where the melting magician chairs are, and he pointed, but I don't know that he knew what I was asking for. There they are. The melting magician chairs. They're inside of a tent. They must be doing some cleanup work or something, so that's why we kept walking by them. Okay, Watson, let's go. Yes, this other tent has more. It's, you can see the furniture has feet, and it has butts. That one has a butt on the back. And they're magicians that have melted into furniture, whatever. That's the story anyway. So you just keep walking down that promenade, working your way this way, and you'll see the back of this building. And I think this is the next stop. This is the theater I'm going to take you to. We'll know when we see the front. It's a gorgeous water fountain, if that's what it's called, at the back of this theater. It's a beautiful building. Let's go around front. This is Liberation Plaza, or Plaza de Liberation. That is the basilica, or cathedral across the way there, and these two beautiful water fountains. This is the last stop on our walking tour. You'll be looking at the Delgado Theater here in a moment. There it is. It was built in 1860 by then Governor Santo Delgado. The Corinthian columns and roofline muses are reminiscent of Greek construction. Go inside if you can and see how elaborate the decorations and paintings that adorn the walls are. Also check the playbill to see what performances are happening while you're in town. Across the street in the plaza, look for the statue of Hidalgo, Father of Independence, breaking the chains of oppression. Thanks for watching our video. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. We'd appreciate if you click like, if you leave a comment below, subscribe to Vagabond Buddha, or go to Vagabond Buddha and check out our webpage. Thanks for joining us on this walking tour. So there's proof that we are in Guadalajara, and we're not going to wait our turn in line for this, but what I wanted to show you here is Hidalgo. He has change in his hands, as you can see, the father of independence, and he's also the father of freedom. He freed the slaves here in Mexico, which Spain was relying on to make all their money. And here's the line. That's the church, the theater over there I showed you a moment ago. And the fountain, and hey Chung Hoi.
Hi.
Having fun?
I haven't had my lunch yet.
You had lunch? No lunch? Oh my goodness. I thought you were waiting for pre-dinner next. And there's the cathedral. Beautiful trees. It's a lovely square. So what do you think of Guadalajara, say, compared to Guanajuato or San Miguel de Allende?
Here is a very big city and spread around. It's not like Guanajuato.
Yeah.
So far, San Miguel, Guanajuato are here, and I will prefer Guanajuato.
Yeah.
It's easy for us that we just walk out from our house, go to the plaza, sit over there.
Yeah.
You will have people playing a music performance. Just look at them.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Definitely of those three, that would be my pick. So we next we're going to check out Chapalon, and it's a neighboring city which I'll not be able to pronounce, but all of these places, including everywhere we went today, are on the links below. Just click and watch. But and then we go to Puerto Vallarta, which is actually a community I was in many years ago, and I stayed in the Gringo area, but now we're going to be staying in the Old Town area. Which I'm excited about, because that's where all the Mexicans are and where the good food is.
And I have my own vacation now.
Yeah, it's always, she's excited about having her own place on the beach with a kitchen and everything, and so
Privacy,
yeah. So anyway, that's what we're up to next, and we have a couple more tours here in the Guadalajara area, so just click the link below and you'll see what we're up to. Thanks.